Hi there. On behalf of the City of Antwerp, the Antwerp Fashion Museum and Visit Flanders, I would like to welcome you to this digital press event. My name is Jawed and I'll be your host for today. During the next half an hour, we'll be discussing the grand reopening of one of the most inspiring places for fashion enthusiasts and professionals alike, the Antwerp Fashion Museum, or MoMu in short as we call it in Flanders. A must-visit location both for fashion lovers and fanatics. Now more so than ever because this museum is a central hub of the citywide festival, Fashion 2.021. More about that later in this video stream. If you have any questions or remarks during the next 30 minutes, please feel free to leave them in the chat. After the talks, we'll be diving right into them during the 15-minute Q&A that follows. Oh, and for the people who love quality subtitles, we've got you covered. Just press the subtitle button next to the cogwheel at the bottom right in this video. So, let's kick things off with our first talk with MoMu's Museum Director and Chief Curator, Kaat de Bo.
Hi Kaat, we're in the central staircase of MoMu. The stairs are exactly as I remember them, but I think behind the doors a lot has changed.
We've been working extremely hard the past 3 years. So what has changed? We've made the entrance to the museum more welcoming, more inviting. We've done extensive renovations to our storage and exhibition facilities. And we've also added some new spaces for about 800 square meters in total.
Wow.
So on the ground floor, we've added a new space for our collection presentation. We've also added a new auditorium on the ground floor for about 45 people. It's a space where we will organize talks, conferences, workshops, meetings. We've also added video conferencing infrastructure, which will enable us to also stream the activities we organize there. And then we added on the ground floor a new museum cafe. Really happy with the collaboration for the cafe. We will do the MoMu cafe together with Graanmarkt 13. We'll also introduce a shop, a MoMu shop, where we present some great products in collaboration with local talent and also some Belgian fashion houses such as Delvaux, Wouters & Hendricks, Arte, Essentiel. But we also organize some great collabs with creatives such as illustrator Tom Schamp or designers such as Quinten Mestag or Edward Boot. So yeah, really exciting.
So they will all develop products especially for the shop?
Yeah, that's new. And we did it the MoMu way, so I thought it was really important to give also a platform to young and local talent and to set up collaborations with the many talented designers we have here in Antwerp.
So there's a lot of extra space. But is this in another way a new start too? Do you have a different approach to exhibitions?
I think that for my team and myself it certainly is a fresh start. In the past 2 decades I think we established a firm reputation as a fashion museum. We are known for our innovative approach when it comes to fashion curation. But we want to be more than a fashion museum. We want to evolve into a hub for fashion culture. And we've been thinking how to be more welcoming, how to be more inviting as a museum. I think in the past decades, museums have privileged the encounter with objects. And we want to do more. We want to set up a dialogue, a conversation about these objects and about how these objects and how fashion functions within society. Because of course as a museum you don't operate in a bubble, and I think in order to set up that dialogue, to set up that conversation which can not only be a one-way conversation, I think you need empathy. We want to be, in the first place, we want to be an empathic museum. And then the question, of course, is how to do that.
Yeah, how do you...
Let me maybe give you an example. We've been we've been thinking the past years how to open up our collection to a broad audience.
Because were there certain people who didn't come to the museum who thought
Yes.
it was, yeah?
Of course, there are always different groups or different communities which you don't reach, and nobody has a handbook to tell you how to bring them in. So it's about, I think, setting up different initiatives, different programs that target different groups. Within our library, we have been working on a study collection.
Yeah.
In the meantime, this is a collection of about 2,000 objects.
Wow.
Because we believe that you can only learn about fashion through a very hands-on approach. You need contact with the objects, with materials, with techniques. And during the renovation, we have established new infrastructure within the reading room of the library, where people can consult this study collection. And everybody interested in fashion can make an appointment in the reading room. You don't have to be a professional, you don't have to be an academic. And we've also developed different programs around that study collection. We've worked on programs for schools. Yeah. So as a teacher, you can come with your students and you can teach about fashion with the objects, with, in combination with our archives, with photography, with video material. But we've also worked on programs for specific target groups, such as we've developed some activities for people suffering from dementia. Okay. We've developed activities for newcomers who have to learn Dutch. Yeah. And I think this collection will enable us to set up a very wide program for different groups and to really enable the dialogue and to get in touch with different communities in Antwerp.
MoMu is the beating heart of the Antwerp Fashion 2021 Festival. So what can we expect here in the museum?
Well, we will have 3 exhibitions on view at a time. First of all, on the ground floor, we'll have our collection presentation. A second exhibition that we will offer in September is the exhibition Places, looking through Antwerp lace. And the exhibition focuses on the important role that Antwerp played in the production and trade of lace from the 16th century onwards, when lace emerged as a new luxury product, up to the 18th century. Because for centuries, lace lace played a prominent role in interior design, in fashion, in religion. We'll also tell the story of the role that young girls and women played in the production and trade of lace, which I think is a very relevant story to tell today. And we'll set up also a dialogue with contemporary fashion. We'll focus on, or we'll present contemporary, often very high-tech fashion creations that refer to lace either in concept or form.
Yeah, like laser cutting.
Yeah, laser cutting, 3D printing. And what is important, the exhibition will be on view in MoMu, but will also be on view in 4 different venues throughout the city.
And there's still a third exhibition?
Yeah. The third exhibition that we present here at MoMu is Emotion, Fashion in Transition. The title is a wordplay on emotion and motion. And with this exhibition, we focus on the different societal transitions in the past 3 decades and on the creative responses of fashion designers on these disruptions. Yeah.
One thing to note about Antwerp is that fashion is everywhere here. Starting from the opening weekend until January 2022, MoMu wants to spread fashion culture throughout the city. Like these fashion balls, for example. A collection of eye-catching and interactive sculpture to celebrate Fashion 2.021. And a city dressing project in collaboration with the Antwerp Fashion Department. They are part of a quirky walking route that playfully invites you to make and share pictures, with the city as a fantastic background. Super creative, no? As is our following guest, MoMu curator Elisa de Wijngaard.
Hi Elisa, we're in the renewed library, which is I think a lot bigger than it was. But let's talk about the new collection display, because it's the first time MoMu has its own collection on display. And I can imagine it was quite hard to make a selection for the first exhibition.
Yeah, we will show a small selection, but an important selection of the MoMu collection, because we house more than 35,000 objects.
Okay,
so it's a small but significant selection. What you can expect, I think, is to go through a journey of the MoMu collection, but we will also go into the origins and evolution of fashion in Belgium.
Yeah. And I expect there will be a lot of work display of alumni of the Antwerp Academy.
Yes, there will, because the fashion department of the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Antwerp is still such an important breeding ground for young talent, but it's also so important in the story of Belgian fashion. It also has become increasingly international. We've seen in the last decade that they attract students from all over the world. They have more than 38 different nationalities each year. Yeah. So they come from everywhere, and we collect the work of these alumni and we will present it in the collection display. But we'll also show work of international designers, and we've collected these silhouettes, these looks through previous exhibitions, previous projects. So these will also be on display. Think of names like Yohji Yamamoto and Comme des Garçons.
Yeah, so the collection is not only Belgian. For a lot of people who are interested in fashion, Belgian fashion started with the Antwerp 6 in the 80s. So I expect them to be a big part of this exhibition.
Yeah, it was important for us to tell this story and the history of Belgian fashion in the right way. So that's why we decided to open the exhibition with a short documentary, 15 minutes, in which we go into the story of the Antwerp 6, like their time at the academy, the generations that came after them, the meaning of it. But then it was also important for us to challenge this label, Belgian fashion.
But because you say you want to present it in the right way. That suggests that there is also a wrong way. Is it a myth, the Antwerp 6, or are there misconceptions?
No, I don't think we're trying to debunk a myth. I think we just want to have the facts straight in 15 minutes, a very clean and efficient way of telling the story, I hope. But also, at the end of the documentary, we want to question and we want to challenge the label Belgian fashion. Yeah. Because we realized and we noticed all that the ever globalizing fashion industry and world challenges the notion of Belgian fashion. Yeah. So we've seen that the label Belgian fashion in MoMu has nothing to do anymore with the origins of a designer, with the place they were born. It's more about an artistic sensibility, an artistic quality, a vision. Because in this day and age, your socioeconomic background, the place you work and live for a while, it's always changing. So that's why we didn't want to define it anymore based on origin. So the label Belgian doesn't mean you have to be born here or even study at the academy. It's more about an artistic vision that we follow.
And so if you talk about Belgian fashion, you don't have to be trained here, but you have to be based here then, or you have to have some connection to Belgium, I think, or not?
In the collection display, we won't say that we only present Belgian fashion.
Okay.
But we just realized that we have many looks and work in our collection from alumni of the academy that perhaps only lived in Antwerp for 3-4 years and are working in Seoul or in Korea somewhere, and we still have their work in our collection. So we wouldn't say you're a Belgian designer, but we collect their work because we recognize that there are certain qualities that unites these designers.
So what are these qualities that binds them?
It is a certain sensibility, a feeling for the work. You see that they share a deep love of surrealism, craftsmanship, a love of history and research. There's also a shared love for deconstructing classical garments. So really going in depth in research of the garment itself and eye for detail. We also see that they often like to work interdisciplinary, so with other artists or designers. And those are also the things we'll look at in our collection display. So we'll show certain themes, we'll show lots of silhouettes, but also photos and videos to highlight the whole world they create around their work. Going from fashion shows to makeup looks to the invitations they send out. So we'll bring it all together in a small space.
Yeah. So the display will not be chronologically, but how do you present the collection?
We decided to do it based on certain themes.
Yeah.
So themes would be surrealism, craftsmanship, collaboration. The first one will be with Ries van Noten and a Belgian artist called Jeff Verheijen. There will be deconstructed archetypes, and we might open with a white shirt, we will look at the trench coat, so it will always rotate within these themes. So it's quite interesting to approach it this way, because you don't have to stick with like, this is the first generation, this is the second generation. We bring all designers together that have certain themes or certain specialties in common.
Okay, and so you will change the exhibition, because you told me you have 35,000 pieces regularly?
Yes, it will be constantly changing to also keep surprising people.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Fashion is everywhere, especially in the glowing city of Antwerp, not in the least because of Fashion 2.021. This campaign spreads the joy and experience of fashion throughout the whole city, often in unexpected places, like here, for example, in the Cathedral of Our Lady, where visitors will be able to admire our Mother of Mercy Mary, dressed in a creation of couturier Edouard Vermeulen of Nathan, an homage to the universal woman and mother. Antwerp is a city of culture, taste and fashion, and that's something I can't emphasize enough. So I will let Kaat do it.
Kaat, I see we're both wearing Dirk van Sanen.
Yeah.
It's a coincidence,
It's a coincidence,
right?
yes,
It's a real coincidence, but I love the skirt.
Yeah, nice dress as well.
And we're sitting in the studio of the fashion department of the Antwerp Academy. It's empty at the moment. And maybe this is a good moment to talk about Antwerp as a fashion city. Because for me, coming from the Netherlands, it's a real fashion city. We don't have a fashion city like that. I assume this is a time to celebrate Antwerp as a fashion city, but maybe also reflect on that.
Well, I think the festival certainly will be the start for a long-term vision for Antwerp as a fashion city. And I think we have to ask ourselves a number of questions. What do designers today in a changing fashion world really need? And how, as a city, you can best nurture your fashion talent? I think we also have to question how fashion retail will evolve and what impact it will have on the social and urban fabric of our city. And we also will have to question the changing role of the designer and how will that impact fashion education. But I think for Antwerp, what will be key is collaboration between the main stakeholders.
May I assume that collaborations are part of the festival as well?
Yeah, certainly. We've had some great collaborations, among others with the two partners with whom we co-house in this building. First of all, the fashion department of the Antwerp Academy. Together with them, we developed a very fun city dressing project. So Walter van Berendonk, head of the school, and the teachers and students have collaborated on a project called Fashion Balls. So what are these fashion balls? These are large, colorful balls that will pop up on different locations in the city. And you can step inside of them and in that way creating the illusion of wearing a giant skirt. So we invite people to participate in a fun way, to take a picture with Antwerp as a backdrop. But the fashion balls are also more. We have 10 students that designed a costume, a creation for each ball. And together with these creations, we made a film. And through a QR code, people will be linked to this film.
Okay, great.
And then, of course, we have more. We have more. We also collaborated with the Flanders DC for Fashion. And Flanders DC for Fashion who are also partner in this building, is an institute that advises and coaches designers. And with them we focused on retail within the city. So in November you will be able to visit the project, which is called A Part. And for this project we invited Balogi, an artist, art director and musician, to be curator of the project. So in November we will come out with 20 different collabs between fashion stores or stores on the one hand side and creatives, designers, artists on the other hand side. And then we also collaborated with the Antwerp Management School. Together with London College of Fashion, we will host a fashion conference, the Responsible Fashion Series. And then together with Flanders DC, we will also have the Fashion Talks, which is a B2B conference end of November.
Okay. Are there any digital collaborations?
Yes, for the Places exhibition, we've invited Show Studio, which is the digital platform of London-based photographer Nick Knight, to develop 2 films. And these films will be showcased in the Charles Borromeo Church and at the Maiden's House. And then for our collection presentation, we invited Antwerp-based organization Shaman to develop a digital tour. And with this digital tour, we want to offer a different perspective on the themes of our collection presentation. They brought a very diverse group of people together, a journalist and activist, a couple of graphic designers, a fashion designer, to reflect on these themes and to bring in another voice besides the perspective of the MoMu curators. And that was a very interesting thing to do, which we certainly want to continue in the future, to bring in different perspectives and to bring in different voices.
So we have a reopening, a grand reopening. We have a festival, we have a campaign, we have the fashion talks. What do you want people to experience?
I hope people will be inspired by our program. I hope it will spark conversation. And of course, I also hope that it will trigger people to pay a visit to the museum.
Of course, yeah.
And then finally, I hope they will be moved, because I strongly believe that emotion will be key when fashion wants to change.
Yeah. Well, fashion should be emotion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
You're most welcome, Milou. Thank you.